I feel like I'm getting in trouble when he yells. I'm like, dang, I'm sorry that I invented cancer, man. I guess
that's what we do. And
kind of turns me on.
And if we don't have passion, then we're not going to fight for what we believe in. Like, I don't even care about the Trump. This is not about Trump. It's about how the past 4 years have operated under your watch.
I've already accepted my condition.
Yeah.
You know, I did 7 years ago. But like for me, I'm in the exact same boat. I would never want him or my mom or my dad or my brothers or my nieces to like go through that, you know, because I know what it's like. Then I start to get to a point in my life where I'm like, well, what do I do? Yeah. You become desperate. Yeah. Like, you don't want to see somebody else in pain.
The only way Kamala wins is by cheating. There's no other way.
Or they take Trump out.
We don't talk like that. Because it just, we just can't.
Reality.
But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are at. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Passionate Podcast. I am your host, Casey, and I am very excited today because I've got a very special friend that I've known for quite some time. And life has been, very crazy in the past, I'd say 4 years, if you want to be pretty statistical about it. But I've known Andrea here for some time, and I know her story, which we're going to dive into. But I'm just so excited to have her on because of all the things that are going on in life right now. She is just a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrea. I am so happy that you are here. And obviously, as you know, I just love you and Chris and everything you guys stand for and what you guys represent and do and your journey. So thank you for coming on the show. I'm pumped. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I just had a baby.
I know, right? You just had a baby. I know. I texted Jose and I was like, hey, are we still doing this? Because I know you just had a baby. So
this is my appearance for the night, right? Yeah. I got a designated hour or so to get away and get out of the house and do what I love to do, which is the Passionate Podcast. A lot of people like, hey, we love that you were this, you've kind of evolved into an influencer. I'm like, I hate that name.
The influencer.
I'm not an influencer, right? I am a content creator.
Yeah.
All right. I love to create content that's going to connect people, that has different perspectives, unique, outlooks on life and things that we get to represent. And we're not scripted. This is not edited. This is just
raw.
Two people. Yes. Raw, man. Passionate podcast. Just raw, man. Just putting it out there for our community and doing some good things. So yes, I did. I just had a baby girl. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, babies are such a blessing. I was paying attention to all of your content that you and Amanda were kind of posting, and I was so about it, and when I saw that you guys were actually prepping already for the baby, I've never had a baby before, so it's kind of like, oh my God, like, how do you even... You actually tested out the whole watermelon thing, see how heavy it was.
Like, with that too.
And I saw that you were kind of like, oh, it's not that bad, but it's like, you had it on for like how long?
I'm also in like great shape, right? Like I might be old and I'm also in really great shape. I have a facility. I don't have a choice, right? I got to be in good shape. My wife she thought that, you're going to be struggling with it. Like you can't do this. So she tried to surprise me with it, which I thought was really cute because I wanted her to experience the other side of it too, which I thought was kind of fun. So being the humorous guy that I am, I put a twist on it and kind of like showed her like, this is easy, but let's be you for a minute.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because let's be honest. I am on hand and knee. All right. I serve my wife and I serve her with whatever she wants. And right now, if I hear a ring, I gotta go. If I hear the bell,
exactly. Yeah, I feel you.
I'm that husband right now, right? I'm bending the knee to the wife. She brought this beautiful little girl in this world. And by the way, it just happened this weekend, and it really genuinely felt like just time stopped. Like time just stood still for me. It allowed me to enjoy this weekend. I mean, I was off social media. I wasn't using my phone. I just wanted to be present. Yeah. I wanted to be there for her because when I had Kipton, it was an IVF baby, so it was so fast. Click, boom, 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 boom. We're doing this. We're doing that. We go, go, go. And I got to do injections. I got to do this. You didn't have to
do that much work.
No, this was. That's
how he did.
This was something that God blessed us with. And so it was a more natural, amazing miracle. So we took it that way. And so when it got down to that moment and she came into this world and I saw the doctor lift her up out of my wife's belly, which is amazing, by the way, just how, our bodies work, in incredible ways. But, it's just like, it was almost like everything stopped and time stood still. And I was just there, right? With my daughter, with my wife, and it was a moment that I can't really explain because it wasn't like that with Kipton. With Kipton, it was like I was walking on eggshells because we didn't know if something bad was going to happen.
Right.
Like, I don't know what it was, but I knew that she was going to be stronger than ever in anything when she came into this world. And she is, she's so beautiful, and I can just tell, I can feel her.
Yeah.
I can feel her strength. And I swear, I think my son feels her too, and he got to meet her for the first time. And I posted a video with him meeting Carter for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it was so,
his reaction.
Oh my God. I lose it thinking about it. Like, I can't even, it was just such an amazing moment, right? It was just really cool to kind of experience that. Something I definitely, you can't really fully understand unless you experience it.
Yeah.
Right? It's that experience of having a girl and as a dad, I had my son, now I had my son, and now I get to prepare differently for my girl. And I mean, man, she's everything I thought she was going to be.
Yeah.
And
she's so cute. You guys have actually really strong genes.
We do. Because she looks like Kipton, my son, my 4-year-old.
She really does.
She really does.
And normally it's hard to tell when you have like a newborn baby. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have a newborn nephew. I want to say he's 1 month.
He's 1 month? So
he's 1 month.
Really brand new.
Brand new baby. And we still can't figure out exactly who he looks like. But when I saw the video of your daughter, I was like,
yeah, it's
strong genetics.
Very, very, very strong. And as they grow, as your nephew will grow, you'll see different characteristics and different features kind of accentuate more as she ages. And I see things from like a man, like my wife's younger siblings.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. I'll see like little moments like, oh my God, that looks like your little sister. Yeah. Like, how is that even possible? It's a trip, but that's kind of how our bodies work, and DNA and genes, and it's kind of a crazy, unique thing.
Was the IVF process hard for you guys?
So the Kipton IVF process was definitely excruciating. Yeah. It was a different way to have a baby. You think growing up, as a kid, you're thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna find the love of my life. I'm going to, create life with her. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're told that you can't. And someone was telling me like, oh, well, IVF is like, oh, it's of sin, it's of this and that. I'm like, well, listen, I know it's a big debate, but let me tell you something. If God did not want these babies to come into this world, he wouldn't let them come into this world that way. Right? You have to look at it as a different perspective, as always, okay? Just because I am told I can't have babies and my wife is told she can't have babies doesn't mean we still, that's God telling us we can't do it. Yep. Obviously, there's a way to have a miracle. And if God didn't want that to happen, then we wouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's the way that people need to really look at IVF. It's a miracle. It's a blessing to be able to have a baby to give life. Yeah. If you're told you cannot do that. And I think that that's a really, really powerful thing that I think God ultimately created for us. Mm-hmm. Because I also think he was sick of the traditional way of having babies, where people are using all kinds of different needles, drugs, all kinds of other things that they're putting in our babies' bodies, which is a whole different conversation. Yeah. But I think that's the real rub of IVF is the struggle of having to know that, this $150,000 out-of-pocket treatment might not work.
$150,000. That's an expensive kid there.
It's an expensive roll of the dice.
That's an expensive kid before he was even here. Oh,
before he's even here. And if those transfers, if they don't take, your money's gone.
Yep.
Gone. Mm-hmm. Gone, baby, gone. And to freeze them costs more money. To freeze the eggs, keep them.
Yeah, it is.
When we went through the whole process, I mean, it was crazy. Amanda produced like 36 eggs. It was an amazing amount of eggs. But when we fertilized the eggs, only 2 made it to the blastocyst phase.
Now, did you have the opportunity to choose whether you wanted a son or a daughter right there?
No.
You didn't know.
We only had 2 that matured enough to get to the blastocyst phase, which was that got to the next level, to the transfer phase. Okay. When we did that, it was, again, another roll of the dice. You can't tell if it's a boy or girl, but we only had 2 eggs that were compatible. So we could have froze one and tried one. But we put them both in there. So Kipton's got a sister up there in heaven somewhere, or he ate her. I don't know. You know what I mean? But he's big. He was big enough when he was born. He was huge enough. But I mean, or they merged, and he's a super baby, and that's what he's really boiled down to. At least that's what I think of my son. Yeah, I love my boy, man. He's He really is amazing. I'm learning so much from him every single day. You know, it's a trip because he views the world completely differently than us with nonverbal autism.
Yeah.
So
the reason why I ask is because I myself can't have kids.
that's kind of where I was going to transition that conversation. So you can't actually have kids, right? And why is that? I know the answer, but why?
My situation. I mean, you know, I got diagnosed with cancer 7 years ago, and at very young age, colon cancer at 26 years old. So it was very hard for me because I was 26. I was diagnosed initially like 4 years prior to that, 3-4 years before that, with endometriosis.
Endometriosis,
yeah.
right.
So it's like very common for, you know, girls, excruciating pain and all of that. So it was horrible. But then, you know, it ended up being, I ended up going to the emergency room so often. And every single time it was like, you have internal hemorrhoids, you have internal hemorrhoids. Where eventually I was in Mexico and I just like completely bled out, almost died. And the doctors in Mexico diagnosed me with stage 3 colon cancer. So already at an advanced stage. And then I was considered cancer-free about a year after that, after surgery and chemo and all of that. And that's actually around the time that I had met
So you first had,
the first time in like 2017.
You had just gotten through that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was considered cancer-free. Long story short, was not the case. In 2020, I was off treatment for a few years. I was, you know, just kind of living my life. And exactly during COVID, during the peak of COVID, actually, October of 2020, I was re-diagnosed with stage 4 colon. So it had already spread to different organs. Yeah. And then in 2021, I mean, from 2020, late October of 2020 to, I want to say September 2021, I ended up in the hospital during that time. I mean, I was in the ICU in the hospital for like 2 months, had to be transferred from downtown Fresno to Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I mean, the doctors called my family and they pretty much told them, like, just take her home. I want to say they called my family like twice. Take her home. She's not going to make it anymore.
Oh, my God.
They left me there to die, and it was...
Literally being called and told that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is...
Which is crazy because none of this I didn't know until after. Obviously, I was inside the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, I was inside dying, and my entire family was the one, you know, kind of living through that. So right before I had actually gotten diagnosed for the second time, I had gone to go get, you know, to see if I can get my eggs frozen, see what we can
you could possibly do down the road.
Right. Because even with the endometriosis, it was like, hey, there's a strong possibility
But you can still preserve your eggs,
Right.
but after you won't, they'll be non-existent.
Right. So it was, I want to say a day or two before I ended up in the hospital that I went to go see a specialist. They kind of tested me, did the very basic stuff, and they said it was going to be pretty dangerous because the way that they retrieve the eggs, like through a needle.
It's wild.
So yeah, so they were just very hesitant to doing it to begin with because they said, well, we can potentially hit, you know, a tumor and your cancer might spread. So like, we don't even know if that's what we want to do.
That's what you want to do.
Right. So right when I was going to make that final decision to be like, yes, I want to do it, or no, I want to do it, fill out the paperwork, all of that, I ended up in the hospital. And then it was something I could not do. I know that my family was told, and myself, you know, the doctors, they kind of told them like, hey, you're going to have, I had to have a full hysterectomy.
Yep.
It was a full hysterectomy. I had 2 6-pound tumors in both of my ovaries, so they had to remove those.
Those completely.
So, you know, I have absolutely nothing anymore. So yeah, I was never able to do it. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to go through. I woke up from that surgery.
But you want kids?
I want kids so bad. It was my lifelong dream. This is actually the first time I ever talked to anybody outside of my family about it.
I mean, I can't even imagine what that what that feels like, you know, to want kids so bad. I mean, because I know what that felt like. My whole life's dream was to have babies, you know, and have babies of my own. And then when we first were told that Amanda couldn't have babies, that like wrecked
It's
my
a hard pill
world.
to swallow, you know.
And I didn't know, to be honest with you. At that point when we found out, it's not that I questioned the relationship. I questioned myself. Mm-hmm. I questioned like, okay, like what did I do wrong?
Right.
And it's just like, why is this the situation?
Yeah.
And so then I said, no, I'm not going to accept this. And that's when we started doing research into IVF. And it was definitely a hard decision because it was so expensive. And, it's like, okay, if we roll this
It's
dice.
worth it though.
But if we have that baby,
Yep.
if we have that baby, that will mean everything to me.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people really understand, that when I saw my son get vaccinated and then get sick and then get autism immediately after, which is why I fight the way that I fight for my son. Because not being able to have a baby, and then now to have a perfectly healthy baby, and then to get the vaccines, and then to watch him demise and to go backwards. I know what has happened to our babies and to our bodies and the things that we have put in it and endured in it. Let's get back to that subject really quick, because I think it's so important to talk about. And if you're open to talking about it,
I'm close. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, whatever. I'm with it. I'm all for it. I just think it's a good, it's a good place, because I think there's a lot of women out there that can really be impacted by this. You know what I mean? To want kids so bad, and then to have that stripped away from you, out of your control.
Yeah.
Not your control, right? Have that stripped away from you, due to sickness, whatever it may be, whatever stripped your ovaries out, whatever made them have to go in there and take everything out, right? The complete mastectomy, which is, by the way, a very painful process as well.
Oh my God.
And for you to endure all of that, and the thought process, right? So let's cue Chris, because your husband, Chris is the man, bro. Chris is like my dude. Like, I love that guy. I know, whatever. Point is, when did you guys actually meet? Did you meet before your first diagnosis or after your?
Between,
right?
After my first diagnosis, when I was like considered, cancer free or whatever.
But before the mastectomy.
Yeah.
So were there talks of you guys wanting to have kids on the table before all that had happened? Were you guys even serious at that point yet to that? Or no, not even at that point? No?
I'm just kidding. No,
Chris is over. We can bring him on up here too, man. I might have to get some questions out of him too.
No, I'm kidding. No, we never really talked about it. I mean, I was at the point of my life where we both wanted to get married to each other. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I mess around about it because I know he's probably trying to be all serious over there.
If you guys want, I'll take Chris off your hands. Right? That's my boo. I'm his number one fan.
No, I met him after my first diagnosis, obviously, and then he saw the part of me that was like the cancer-free, the living life to the fullest,
That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah, getting to experience life a little bit differently. I came from, a relationship that was like fairly long. Nothing really went about it. So to me, I was just kind of like, hey, this guy is treating me absolutely perfect. Yeah. Let me just kind of live my life with him, So there wasn't any talks about any of it. Obviously, when I got diagnosed, once again in 2020,
for the second time,
he actually lived through that, with me. And I remember I texted him from the hospital, the emergency room, because the doctor came in and he was just like, I don't know if I told you this. We talked about like the whole COVID thing of like when I was in there during that time when I got re-diagnosed. I mean, you couldn't really go to the emergency room.
Yeah, that's when we had a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you were having a baby or unless you were literally dying.
Yeah, literally. When they let someone else in, it's terrible. Absolutely atrocious.
And I actually knew that based off of like, conversations and stuff like that and like social media.
I'll never understand why they did that. I'll never get it. Why would you want to separate loved ones? Like, if my wife is going to die from a sickness, give me the damn bug.
Yep.
I'll die in there with her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit out here and watch my wife wither away or cancer or whatever. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like put it inside of me then so I could sit there and die with her if that's what you're going to do.
Yep.
I'll never understand.
Well, they never even gave you the option.
No. And you had to be masked up, or you couldn't even be in there. You couldn't even. I know people that watched their families die from window.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what happened in those days. It was horrible.
I mean, I was in there I'm telling you, okay, so you had your baby around March 2020 when everything kind of started, right?
Yep. I had to shut down my business within weeks after. I made a post about it, actually. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, well, I was in the hospital during the peak of it when people were full on dying.
So like June-ish.
October.
Okay, so back even further into the end of 2020.
Yeah, when they had like, I guess some sort of, I don't know, techniques, whatever you want to call them, to be able to to do whatever they wanted to do to people with COVID.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm like,
It was a lot.
It was a lot. There was a lot going on. So I knew that was it, and especially when you have a pre-existing condition. And I mean, with me, I was like, do I have COVID? I don't know. I went to go get a COVID test on a Friday. Then they said, come back for the results on a Monday.
Did they make you take the vaccine?
Not until it was, I want to say like a year later, right? Yeah, till the vaccines kind of came out.
How did that affect you?
It actually affected me. Well, I ended up getting sick from the second vaccine.
And you still had cancer at this point?
Yeah, I already had cancer.
Yes.
So the second vaccine I got, I was actually on chemo when I got COVID.
Let me ask you this: would they even treated you if you didn't get the vaccine?
Yes, but you know what? They actually treated me. This is where I got like really lucky. Like this is where I feel that you have to really advocate for yourself. I think Jose and I have actually talked about this, right? Where I went into the emergency room, and I'm telling you, that Friday, they took a COVID test. I mean, my body just didn't feel right. I'm not going to wait until Monday. I woke up the next morning at like 6 a.m. and I said, screw this. I'm going to the emergency room. I just did not feel good. I couldn't breathe. So I drove myself to the emergency room, and I went in there and I like knocked, right? And I told them I have COVID. And they took me in like right away. And I experienced things in there that you just don't ever really want to see. I mean, the people in like the full suits.
The full hazmat suits, everything. Suits.
I mean, if they were transferring you like
these are medical professionals, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Medical professionals dressing up in hazmat suits, pretending like COVID's like, dude, I'm sorry.
Like on ET.
I'm sorry,
right?
But that's what they're literally dressing up like it's the end of the world. Like what's that movie, Contagion?
Yeah.
Outbreak. Outbreak. There it is, Outbreak. It's like that. It's nothing like that. In fact, the vaccine now, 2.9.
Yeah.
2.9 million people have been affected from the vaccines, and no one wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll check this out. We'll give restaurants and businesses 3 or 4 reviews, right? And if we see 3 or 4 1-star reviews, we go to the next restaurant.
Yep.
2.9 million people have claimed damages from the vaccine, and there are still people out there that will take their babies to go get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is wrong with our world? That is crazy to me. It's hurting people, and you're going to still take your babies to get a 3rd or 4th shot, and here you were, you're literally in the hospital. You've already got cancer, and you got people with suits poking and prodding you, already being sick. That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when I went, the reason why I lied, and I obviously said it, was because I needed to be seen.
To be seen.
I needed to be seen because I thought it was crazy. I wasn't going to wait months and months until who the hell knows when COVID was going to be over. I didn't know.
No one knew.
Shit, maybe I wasn't going to be alive to figure it out.
Or that.
So I was at the peak of it, whatever. I went through the entire process, and that was actually like I said, I saw things in there that it's just horrible. So that's kind of like when I texted Chris and my family, and the doctor came in the worst bedside manner. He said, hey, just so you know, you have cancer. It came back and it spread, and no matter what we do, whether it's chemo or surgery, you're not going to live very long.
They said that again to you?
Yeah, that was the second time in my life that they've told me that.
Wow.
So, I mean, at that point, I had no reaction. I said, okay, am I going to die? He's like, I don't know. I said, okay. So I texted my family, I texted Chris, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. So he had to go through that. And, it was very hard.
Dude, I mean, listen, I just saw my wife go through a C-section. All right, and I'm an empath, and I'm sure Chris is a lot like myself because we are a lot alike. And when I watch someone that I love hurt, I hurt 10x. Like if I see my boy struggle, I struggle. If I see my wife struggle, I hurt. It's weird. I'd rather take the pain.
Yeah.
Like I would rather take the physical pain because it doesn't bother me as much as the mental pain does, the emotional pain that it does from watching my family hurt. And if I got that type of news, I would be wrecked. Right, I'd be like, give it to me. Like I want it. I can't watch this. Now, my wife is a badass, and I know you are too. And I'm sure that you are strong beyond measures, and that just makes you even sexier to Chris. I mean, full transparency. I mean, when you're watching someone beat the shit out of cancer, I mean, come on now. I mean, that's sexy. You know, in retrospect, though, as a defense mechanism, you know, he's going to be pretty protective over the things that you do or don't do, right?
Yeah, and you know, it's crazy that I actually think about it, and I consider myself a strong advocate for myself, but then him and my family in general, like them being my entire support system, them being my village. If I didn't have them, I don't think I'd be here today.
No way.
Because
No
they're the
way. You'd
ones
roll
that
over and die.
literally advocate for me. They are the ones that when I was in the hospital and nobody was allowed inside my room,
You need someone that's going to
they
fight,
were the ones
dude.
that kept
Yep.
fighting. I mean, you're talking about there was over 100 people every single night outside the hospital
Love that, man.
praying, and you know, every single night praying and just waiting for whatever news that they were going to get. And then eventually my mom was able to come in because of Chris's connects, you know? So
Yep.
it was like them advocating
Yep.
for me. So I mean, I appreciate them so much.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like how you said, like you put yourself in that position. Like I would rather have it.
Yep.
I've already accepted my condition.
Yeah.
You know, I did 7 years ago. I've
Yeah.
accepted it. But like
Dude.
for me, I'm in the exact same boat. I would never want him or my mom or my dad or my brothers or my nieces to like
Yeah.
go through that, you know, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like, and I don't want them to have to go through it. I'd rather go through it myself than watch them, because then I start to get to a point in my life where I'm like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
You become desperate.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to see somebody else in pain.
No.
Shit, I've had different people in my family come with me to chemo, and I refuse to like, you know, have the traditional way done to me because I don't want them to see me in pain.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to hold back on a lot of things so that they don't see that.
I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see that a lot in you too.
I do that a
You got a
lot.
big block. Right? I got to chip away
I think
at that
the
a
only
little
one
bit.
that sees everything are my mom and Chris
Oh, of
himself,
course.
because I've been in and out of the hospital for the past 4 years.
When was Chris there? Were you guys together when you got the specific diagnosis that you cannot have kids?
Yes, he actually went with me.
So he was there when you got that diagnosis. And what was that like?
It was horrible. I mean, I remember.
You literally walking into, you know.
It was horrible. Like I said, it's a hard pill to swallow, because I know he's always wanted kids. I want kids. We're at the age where just if you're in your 30s, you know, you just want to be able to start a family with the person you love. And with me, it was, I've always dreamt of having that. Like I would give everything and anything I have to be able to be a mom.
Was it a specific visit? Was it for fertility? Or?
It was for that, yeah. So we decided to kind of go together.
That's amazing. So you guys went to fertility, and and you got all the tests, everything done.
Yeah,
and
it was like the very entry level, but they were just kind of resistant on like wanting to do anything because of that. You know, they were trying to avoid any sort of spread. Because they didn't really know where it was at. And like you have to do just like scans and biopsies and this and that, just to try to figure any of that out. And they don't want to just start poking any organ. And what if it's, you know, a tumor, and then it just spreads, and then it becomes their fault.
Boom.
Yeah. So it was
Liability.
it was really hard to find that out. And then obviously after surgery, or before surgery, when my doctor came into my room, and she pretty much told me, this is what's going to happen. And I asked her, well, can I still have kids? She said no. And when I woke up from surgery, the first thing I asked her was like, can I have kids? She said, no, I took everything out. And I'm like, you didn't leave anything in there?
Nothing?
Like,
No little bit? Anything? Something? You know?
Yeah, no. And she pretty much said no. So that was really hard, because I see everybody, you know, going through it. Everybody my age. I mean, you have girls that I went to school with. They have 14-year-old kids now.
Yeah.
Some of them are just having babies. And it's the simplest thing as
You're going to weddings with people who are pregnant. You're going to baby
Yes.
showers. You're going to diaper parties. You know, I mean.
Yeah, and it's the smallest things. It's trying to like, I'm never going to know if that child would have looked like me. Was it going to look like your dad? Was it going to have my attitude? Was it not? You know, like
was it going to have your heart?
Was it going to have my heart?
Was it going to have your determination?
My same taste in
was it going to have your ambition, your drive? You know, everything.
Yeah, everything. You know, and then I start obviously for him. We've talked about the IVF. We've talked about, you know, a surrogate. We've talked about hey, you know what? Like, let me close my eyes. You go out there.
Yeah.
Sleep with
Hall pass.
Yeah.
Even hall pass.
Yeah. Dude.
I think he's just too great of a guy, man.
Like,
I know you joke around.
You know?
I love that
Dude,
about her, but
I'm like, bro, like, I'm on chemo
Whatever
this
it
day and
takes,
this day.
yeah.
Like, you know, like something. So if anybody.
that's what makes you so dope, I think.
That is
you
so
know?
funny, dude. But listen,
like,
you do what you
hey,
got to do,
So
man.
if you know anybody.
Hey, you do what you got to do. I mean, listen,
not
I got
bad
listen, I got a big reach, all right? I mean,
I know.
you know, come on.
Chris, come over here.
Chris is a man dying.
Hey, yeah, it's
He's
like
a man
Chris,
dying.
do a little spin over here.
He'll drop it.
We're gonna pimp him out. We're gonna put up his. We're gonna make him a little profile,
Dude.
like a
Right
Tinder
there.
profile. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a baby Tinder profile for.
You know,
for
I've actually thought about that.
baby Tinder business, man. Oh
Really?
shoot, bro.
I've actually thought about that. You know, one of the days that I'm going through his
God,
phone,
that's a nightmare waiting to happen, though. Man. No, I thought about it really quick. So that's a nightmare waiting to happen really quick.
One of the days, you know, one of these nights that I go through his phone, I'm probably gonna be like, "Hey, you still have your what is it, Tinder? Your
Grindr.
You still got it? Yeah, let me open that back up." No, but you know, you start having like that guilt that I'm like, man. The
Well,
same thing. I can't have kids, but like he
but
still can. Like, how can we?
I think that's the biggest thing. It's the hurdle, and I applaud you guys. You know, the one thing that kills me for you, and you know, and this is I hope I'm not insensitive here, but this is, you know, the biggest thing that you're not going to be able to ever get is to hold that newborn fresh smell. You guys know what I'm saying, man. When you smell that newborn baby and it's of you and you're holding her or him, that is something that is just, it's something that it's a God gift.
Yeah.
And that is got to be one of the hardest things to hear
Yeah.
when you walk out of a doctor's office, and especially for a man that comes with you that is excited. You know, hey, we're talking about fertility, you know, and now we're told, okay, well, now we can never have babies. So, you know, that changes things.
It's hard.
And most relationships, but it didn't for you guys.
Yeah.
And that's really inspiring. And I applaud Chris. I applaud you for you guys overcoming that, because I think that is the giant obstacle, you know, is being with someone knowing that there's a possibility that they might die. Not to be cryptic, but I mean, that is.
I was like, well, damn. Not just kidding.
Well, I mean, I think about
No,
that
I'm
for
kidding.
Chris. You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys have thought about that. You know what I mean? Getting diagnosed twice, and where are you at with that, by the way? Where are you at currently with that right now?
Well, I mean, I've been on treatment for the past 4 years.
7.
Yeah.
Technically.
7 years.
Basically,
It's
putting all
been a
that
lot.
stuff in your body, right?
Yeah.
And these are not natural treatments. These are
No, this
chemo
is
and
Chemotherapy
invasive.
sucks.
Yeah,
I think
sick.
I've had just about every type of chemo. In the last 4 years, I've gone through, I don't even know how many surgeries. I've gone through chemotherapy, the harshest stuff. I've done immunotherapy. Yeah, I did immunotherapy, which I had the worst reactions. I want to say it was like last year. I lost my hair again for the second time. I had rashes all over my face. It was so disturbing. You know, then that didn't work. So then I went to do a clinical trial. So you essentially lend your body out without knowing, which I didn't know this, but like, did you know that when you're like in clinical trials, they give you, what's it called? The placebo.
Yeah, which might not even be the actual.
Which might not, like,
Might not even be the tech.
tell you.
They don't tell you because they need it to be the
tell you.
placebo.
Yep.
And they
So
want to
I
see what
had-
it does.
Yeah, so I had to sign,
That's
I want to
terrible.
say like a contract of like 40 pages, right? Something like that. It was ridiculous with like all the side effects that it could possibly give me. Is it going to work? Who the hell knows, because you're a lab rat, essentially.
You are.
Yeah, you are. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So I've gone through that. And then, you know, unfortunately, like it had spread from my colon, then to my ovaries.
Your
We
ovaries, got all that out.
Got all of that out. Then it went, I want to say last year, went to my lungs. I've had it in my lungs for a while. And then it went to my liver most recently, like a month and a half ago.
And what are you doing for treatment?
I am on like the immunotherapy pill.
The pill?
Yeah, like the chemo pill immunotherapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar. A lot of clients and patients that come in and out with all that stuff.
Which is crazy because, you know, I talk about like my treatment, but I'm so used to it. The past 4 years, it's been every other week I've been on it. So I schedule everything in between that, my life, you know, and I'm so used to it. I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah.
As long as I get to live until I'm 80, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times I'm going to lose my hair or wear a wig. Like,
whatever.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
the side effects, like, okay, I throw up, whatever, I'll stay skinny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bonus.
Bonus.
You're talking about looking on the bright side, man.
Like, dude,
that's
like-
different.
That's perspective, man. That's
That's
passionate
huge.
perspective
That's
right there,
real.
bro.
Like, who cares? There's pills for that. I don't know. Like, there's a solution for everything.
I think there is
wanna
too,
say-
and I think if you're taking care of your body, it takes care of itself. Our bodies are amazing things.
It's incredible.
And if
It's
you-
incredible what your body can do if you take care of your body, and then if you're just positive about it, if you laugh about the situation.
Yes, you have to. I agree wholeheartedly.
If you keep saying like, I'm gonna beat this, I'm going to beat this, like they call it, okay, so it's stage 4 now, right? Once it starts spreading, stage 4.
Stage 4.
So then they say pretty much it's a terminal disease.
Terminal disease.
I don't see it like that.
Yeah.
I don't see it like that at all. And I've even talked to like my family. When I first got diagnosed, I told my family, we do not talk about it like that. You do not treat me like I'm sick.
Yeah.
Because the second that you start treating me like I'm sick, then I will be sick.
I will be sick.
Right.
See, I love
my
that.
family doesn't do that.
So important to have that mindset. And that's why people. Why do you think people go to hospice to die?
To die.
That's giving up.
Yes, and
I'm firmly. I know. I don't like. I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
If I'm 90 and I'm barely walking, but I'm still on this earth, and I still got enough breath to see my family and to see and to enjoy the last minutes that I can, and I will enjoy every last minute. So I do agree with that message. I think that's probably one of the most powerful things that you could give to anyone as advice is don't ever quit.
Yeah, don't. And then honestly, you're the biggest advocate for yourself. I mean, I've heard it so many times, and I've seen it a lot, and especially now with like social media and like TikTok, everybody's so open about like, I mean, first and foremost, there's a shit ton of people getting cancer nowadays. I would tell Chris all the time,
Don't
like,
get me
dude, this
started
is
on
like
all these
trendy.
topics.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a thing. I'm starting to
More
think,
than
like,
ever.
more than ever.
And there's a reason for it.
What we eat.
Yes.
What we eat.
What we eat.
100%.
Pharmaceuticals, vaccines. You have to understand all I tell people to do, like, this is not a conspiracy thing. This is nothing. This is me doing my research.
Yeah.
This is me looking at the ingredients that I'm putting in my body and what those ingredients do to my body, or do to a newborn baby's body, or due to a currently existing underlying condition body.
But you know what's crazy? That we know that that's the case, and we don't care.
No one wants to talk about it because the second you start talking about it, you get scrutinized, you get called this, you get called that, and people don't want that noise. Well, I'm bringing that noise because I am not going to sit back and not fight for my son, who I watched the lights go off after he was vaccinated multiple times at a 6-month checkup. I watched it happen with my very own eyes, and you will never tell me different. I watched his lights go out. I watched it, and I thought that I coined that term, the lights go out. But I have group support. I started a nonprofit for autism with a couple other. I'm like going to fight for this.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm going to find a way. They don't treat this like it's a disease. They treat it like it's a behavioral disorder. This is not a behavioral disorder. There's something wrong with these babies because of what we put in their bodies. Yeah. Pharmaceutically, drugs, food. Processed foods, some of the diet, it's all chemical based. If we're putting chemicals in our body, what do we expect? They F around and find out. Well, that's what's happening. We're putting stuff in our bodies and we're allowing the government to do it. We're allowing people to mandate this stuff on us and tell us, no, you have to do that. Why? Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm a 4-year-old with nonverbal autism. I will fight to the day that I do not breathe for him. Because I watched a perfectly healthy, amazing little child rescind and not be able to develop. Screw you, Big Pharma, for doing that. Screw you for my government, for whoever let that happen. Screw you. I watched a beautiful little child just get all of his development just get completely rescinded. That's my son. I might not. When I was told that I might never have a conversation with my son, do you know what that does to a dad? After you see a perfectly healthy little baby, and then you don't know what to do, and you're being told you have to give him all these vaccines all at once, and you got to do it. Why? Yeah. Oh, well, I found out because the doctor gets paid so much money on the back end from the back end of these pharmaceutical companies. You push the vaccine, you get rewarded. You get yield spreads, you get margins, you get all these big things as a doctor. That's why they push the vaccines.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me. They push pharmaceuticals. In fact, just 2 days ago, when my baby was brought into this world, they could not stop coming into our room and asking us, would you like us to give you more information about vitamin K? Would you like us to give us more information about the hepatitis B? I said, why would I want to know about the hepatitis? Why? I know everything I need to know about hepatitis B, and no one in this family will ever get it. Ever. Why would you put that on my son's body? Why would you do that? Why would you do it for my daughter right now? No answers. They can't actually answer the question. When you start provoking questions, they can't even answer it. They'll give you a runaround thing. Well, I just don't know if I can really talk about that. Well, oh, really? That's really convenient for you to not talk about. 5 minutes later, oh, do you want some more information about another vaccine that we need to give? No, you don't. No. I'll tell you what, right now, and I'll make a bet with anyone out there, my daughter that has 0 vaccines, 0 antibiotics, 0 vitamin K, 0 nothing, she will be the healthiest and strongest and most developed child that you will ever see. You mark my words.
So you're not going to give her absolutely
nothing.
Nothing.
We did nothing, and she is doing so. She's already lifting up her neck like all strong and everything. I mean, dude, she is special, and she is going to be very special, just like my son in a different, unique way.
Yeah.
But she's going to be differently and uniquely specialist, just like all our babies are. Yeah. But the last thing we need to be doing is putting chemicals into our babies' bodies. Last thing we need to be doing is putting all kinds of stuff in our bodies that says that we have to do this to save us, when there's other ways to save us. If you actually just do the research, which is one of the scariest things to do, because you have all these medical professionals telling you this is the only way for you to survive. This is the only way for you to have a baby, IVF.
Well,
right? This is the only way for you to not get sick. Whereas if you actually ask a doctor straight to his face, and this is, I promise you, if you're in the room with your doctor and he's trying to push the vaccines, you say, Doc, well, if my son or my daughter gets sick with one of those diseases, can I still treat it? Oh yeah, absolutely, no problem. So what's the point of the vaccine? If I can go walk in and get treated and it's going to be perfectly fine, what's my death rate? What's my exposure rate? What's my there is absolutely no reason to be doing this as a young baby.
Yeah.
When she's 5 or 6 and she's fully developed, and there might be a couple vaccines that I think that she needs, not 80, by the way, 80.
Yeah, it's insane, right?
There's a schedule of 80 vaccines. I saw that list. I said, get that out of here. I don't even, I can't, my wife said it much not nicer than I did. I was like, you go, baby. Damn, okay, come on now. When I said that attitude come out, I'm like, come on.
You're baby number 3.
If she didn't get the tubes taken out, then yeah. I literally said it. It was funny. Right before the surgery happened, right before she went out, I said, hey, you want to try for baby 3 real quick? One last shot.
Get the clapping.
Hold the baby. Hold
Hold my baby real quick.
I hold my beer.
No, but I think if us as America really stands back and takes an outside educated look at the ingredients of what we put in our body, whether it's food, injections, vaccines,
it's insane.
It will blow people away and we'll all be healthy again.
We're in the situation right now where, dude, we literally, I want to say, we are so educated in anything that has to do with
more than most professionals probably, because you're living it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, what people understand is when you're a medical professional, you're just doing what a book or a higher up power told you to do. That's it. That's all they're doing. They don't actually live that experience. They don't. And by the way, they come and give you those news with no empathy. Oh, you're not going to live.
No, which should be the other way around.
Bye, Chris. We'll see you. Have a great life.
Yeah.
No kids. Yeah. No nothing. But it's cool.
Go get your stuff in order. I'm like
crazy.
No, which it should be the other way around. Which it should be that they come into the room and
let's fight this.
Let's do this. How do we do this?
I'm so sick and tired of. Thank you. Thank God that you said that. I think that is literally the bane of my existence when I see doctors come in and say, oh, well, we're just going to... No, you're a doctor, dude.
Yeah.
If you tell someone they're going to die, they're going to believe that.
Yeah.
Which is the power of that. You know how powerful that is to tell someone they're going to die?
And
that's
why
if they're not like you and not as strong as you and as determined and willed as you and doesn't have the support that you have, you're going to roll over and die.
Yeah, that's why they do. That's why they give up. You know, and we have been very blessed. Like I said, we don't give up. Thankfully, I mean, aside from all my doctors, God has been my biggest.
Amen.
Like, oh my God, God has been more than absolutely incredible.
He's using you, girl.
He's been in the room every single time ever since I got diagnosed. But we've been super blessed to. I mean, and honestly, it's not just like me, but it's like with him too, not giving up and him just being extremely smart. That we're just like, okay, well, what do we do next? Blah blah blah.
Logical. It's about love. It's about unconditional love. Let's make these decisions together so we can fight this. Because I'm not going to lose you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose you to this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose my hope because some doctor tells me because he's got some schooling that says he can say that, make that my future or make my outcome. Yeah. And if you can change the mindset of that, you can change the onset of your cancer. And I believe that. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to beat it. Yeah. There's zero question in my book. You're going to beat every little ounce of it. And you, in one way, shape, or form, and today's technology and the world of it, even having a baby, I don't think is out of the realm of your hope in the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, we say that. We say
because
that
we have to.
Yeah.
Because we have to, right? And have you ever considered adoption?
Yeah. adoption, surrogacy,
Surrogacy too.
Yep. We're fine with all of that.
There you go.
As long as he has his kids with like his DNA, I'm completely okay.
That's very sweet of you.
But going back to the whole, the whole doctor situation, I mean, I've been more than like I am very vocal about certain things. aside from the fact that I do tell my doctors like, hey, there are certain things that I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Like my prognosis, don't tell me my prognosis. I'll figure that out later. You know what I mean?
I like that.
But no, I tell them like, don't give me my prognosis. When you walk into this room, it's only good news.
Yeah.
How do we move forward? How do we do this? How do we beat this? Because I'm not stupid. We do the research, and it's like chemotherapy. They say it's not the cancer that kills you. It's the chemo that does.
Yeah,
I don't know how true that is. I don't know. Chemo has been great to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It sucks when I have to take it, but it's been great to me.
Yeah, it's helped.
Because it's helped. It's extended my life. Yeah. And then, if this hasn't worked, then this other one will work.
I just feel like, though,
has been great.
I just feel, because I don't want to discourage chemo. I don't want to discourage immunotherapy that works for the people, because if it works, then dude, amen.
But everybody's body is different. Before, all I was doing was chemo.
Well, I was going to ask you, what else, when you were on chemo, how was your diet, exercise? I mean, were you also taking care of your body?
No. I mean, the first time, I've always been like thin and pretty athletic. Yeah. But it's the consumption of the food that I had before that. I mean, when I was 17, I started working at a KFC. So you can only imagine the radiation from the place, all the food. I mean, I was eating KFC every single day.
That's wild.
I like KFC, popping by the way. In a soda. Yeah. A soda, cup noodles. Like, I'm Mexican, so like the Mexican food, the Mexican oil, like fucking give me everything. You know what I mean? I was eating good. Like I was eating good. I was eating chocolate. I was eating chips.
All right.
Like my diet sucked.
I was going to say, that's not a really good diet for cancer, but
I was, But did I know that back then? No. I started doing the research more recently too. It was just more of, okay, now what do I do? So we've had talks with like different doctors. I mean, I go to, my cancer center here. My doctor's absolutely incredible, but he's very limited in what he knows and what he can say.
My point exactly. And you nailed it right there, though. What he can say.
What he can say. Oh, dude. And
that is actually really funny that actually is literally a thing. What doctors can and cannot say when it comes to stem cell, regenerative therapy, when it comes to autism, when it comes to the links and vaccines and the actual factual stats that are behind it.
Well, that
I can't talk about it.
Well, that and what they offer there.
Yeah.
What resources do we have to offer anything else? Because I have asked my doctor, like, can we do stem cell? Can we do T cell? What else can we do? Can we do immunotherapy?
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, this is what happened. What was it? When they found it, was it in the liver or was it the lungs? Remember when we asked doctor, like, what other treatment did we have when the immunotherapy wasn't working? Right before the clinical trial. One of those two. The lung, yeah. So right when they diagnosed me with, you have now cancer in your lung, I'm like, well, damn, like, what do I do? So I asked the doctor, okay, well, what else can you give me? Yeah. And he said, nothing. I don't have anything else anymore. I said, okay. So, but I do have an oncologist at Cedars-Sinai, which is an incredible hospital.
Cedars-Sinai is really good. They're definitely at least leading in research and stuff like that.
And so I called my oncologist there and I said, hey, what do you have? Because they're both connected. Because that's one of the things that I did. I connect all my doctors. I think I'm at like 7 now, right? Like 7. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, we're all going to tag team and we're all going to beat this somewhere or the other.
But that's what you have to do.
You have to.
You can't just sit back and listen to one dude that's going to tell you this. That's my whole message.
Yeah, well.
Don't just sit back and let the mainstream media or your doctor or someone tell you have to take vaccines, because you don't have to. Yeah. You shouldn't have to. This is your body, your choice, however you want to put it. If you don't want to put it in your body, you shouldn't have to. And if you actually look at the research of what is in these things, you'll never want to do it. Yeah. If you actually look at what is putting in your body, you're literally poisoning your body.
Yeah. You really, with anything. Literally. I mean, even with surgeries, you're never really supposed, like, your body was not meant to be open that way. You're not meant to put all these chemicals. The chemo part, it's straight poison. I don't know that. I know that.
For sure.
But if it's going to
extend your life, then we're going to do it.
Yeah. Well, when I went to my oncologist at Cedars-Sinai, I asked him, what do you have? He said, I don't have anything. either. I was like, well, you're supposed to be the bigger and the better
Especially,
hospital.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? He's like, no, I don't know. Then I go back to my other doctor. He calls us while we were shopping. I was so scared. I remember, Casey, I was
Damn.
praying. I think I had an episode that day, that same day, where I was in the car. I had even left work, and I was in the car with Chris, and I told him, I can't do this anymore. God does not love me.
Oh,
I said, God does
dude.
not love me. He's trying to take
I
me.
can't even imagine.
I was like, God's trying to take me out. What did I do?
It's hard though, because you do feel that way sometimes, and you get put
You
in a
do.
corner like that.
I
Everything
did.
is against you. It's
It
stacked
is.
against you, and you're like, dude, what else?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I was in, and I never have those episodes, you know, where I don't consider myself weak in that way. Like, I
Yeah.
make fun of my situation. I don't make fun of the fact that I have cancer,
No,
obviously.
of course, but you're positive about it.
yeah, you know, sometimes you have to find humor in some of these things, like whatever. So I was crying. I was in the car, and I told him, like, God does not love me. He's like, stop, God does
that's
love you. I said,
heartbreaking.
no, like, he really doesn't. If he loved me, he would try to help me. Like, this was the point in my life where the chemo should have been working. Why did it stop working?
Yeah.
And he's like, I have no answer. So finally, because Chris has an answer for everything. You know what I mean? He has an answer for everything.
We
This
do.
time he
And we'll
didn't.
find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and if we don't, we'll find a way.
Yeah, and if not, lie to me. That's
Yeah.
one of the things. Like, then lie to me.
Yeah.
This time he couldn't even lie to me. So I was like, dude, God doesn't love me, right? And I was waiting for, no, God, please, like, you know, yes, you do love her. Like, oh, God told me he loves something. But no, there was no response. So I was crying. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I was so angry at God, which is something that I never really been angry.
Look at Job, man. Look at Job.
So angry. So he's like, well, you know, after I cried, he got super sad. So now we're both fucking sad in the car.
Dude.
Now we're both
I
crying.
mean, now energy's down.
Yeah.
Optimism is
Now that I
down.
ruined our
Yeah.
day. He's like, do you want boba?
Yeah.
So we went to go get boba.
He's like, all right, listen. We're going to get some boba.
We were going to get some boba. Fuck it.
We're going to
Like,
figure it out over some boba.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Because that's my thing, you know? So that's him cheering me up. Whatever.
Absolutely.
He's like, do
No,
you wanna
that's
go?
what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think that's 100%. That was his solution at
Yeah,
that
he's
point.
like, do you want to go shopping too? I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Louis-
Whatever. Let's
get a
spend
Louis
every
bag, girl.
exactly.
Get
Let's,
it, girl.
Whatever.
Let's just
Good man.
spend the
That's
money.
a good
fuck
answer
it.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I was like, you know, and I'm never like this. I never talk about like, oh, I'm gonna die. No, like you
Yeah.
will never. Do you know God listens, right?
I know he
I'm not
does.
gonna fucking manifest that
Yeah.
into my life. I'm not-
But you can't. And trust me when I tell you, you can't. And if you can, you will manifest it the other way.
will.
You will. I promise you.
And that's why I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But that one day, I think I was like,
You had a
know what,
day,
let's go
man. You had an episode.
You want to go spend the money? Fuck it. Like, I'm probably not going to be here tomorrow anyways. You know,
When
nobody
was
has
this?
anything.
When did this happen? This
Oh my God, this was recently. I think.
recently?
Like April?
Oh, this is
Yeah, it
this
was like
year.
April. Yeah. It was recently.
Oh man, girl.
And so so he's like, let's go shopping. Oh, fuck it. So we
Yeah.
went shopping. And when we were in the store, my doctors call him.
Yeah.
So I'm like shopping, whatever. And he just walks over. He's like, listen, I have doctor on the phone. My heart dropped. I was like, oh my God, I left
What now?
everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What now?
Like, did he find something else?
Yeah.
Like, so we go outside and doctor tells me, he's like, listen, something just hit my desk. I think he said today. And I just want you to know that this is for you. This is a clinical trial. I can't promise you anything.
Yeah, you have
but
to
this
sign
is
your whole life
something.
away and everything
Yeah,
else,
he's
all
like,
the
but
fun
this is
things.
something.
And
That to me was the ray of hope that I fucking needed.
yeah.
That to me was God listening and telling me
something.
he does love me.
Yeah.
It was something. And so I was just like, oh my God, like we hugged.
Yeah.
We hugged, everything, you know.
It was the boba.
It was the,
The
boba.
boba.
Exactly.
Can I say something too? Just listening to you, you know, I'm a big fan of both of you guys. I've told you this, and I love what Casey's very passionate. Me being in the background, just kind of taking a break because you guys know my pod. You know, I think that you know, whether we're allowed to have that moment or not, you know, that's just God is God. We can't question His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not. They're so far above us, right? You know, but for you to have that moment and God show face at your lowest moment only shows you that you're right where you belong, right?
Yep.
You know, a lot of times we want to question, you know, Casey brought up the book of Job, and we want to question God, you know, and I've learned the past years because we've talked. I've died. You know, it sucks. You know, we've been there, you know, and that we have those moments. And even at our lowest moment, God is still there. But I feel like what He's trying to, you know, have you on the pod here, what Casey said is there's some lives you're going to touch right now that we can't touch. You know, whether
That's what
he
it's all about.
uses you for this, we'll never know. It's never our place to question God, you know, but
That's why you're still here.
yes.
Why you had that conversation.
Yes.
And why you came on my show randomly on a Monday after I had a baby.
Right.
There is a reason for this show, and I
That's
firmly
real.
believe that. And I firmly believe in you, and I believe
Yeah.
in Chris, and I believe in everything that you guys do. And I am
100%.
behind you 110% in whatever way that we can always help. I've always said this ever since I met you guys since day one. Like, always. Like, we met at the Grizzlies, and I said since day one, like, whatever you need, I will be here to
Yeah.
help facilitate in anything, any way. This is just fun because we get to catch up and we get to share a story that you may not have had any idea is going to impact someone else's life that's going through a lot of things, that's making decisions for themselves in this moment with their husbands,
Yeah.
with their boyfriends, with their significant others that might not be able to make a decision like that, that's watching and that says, holy crap, I know what to do now
Yep.
Yeah.
because someone lived it.
Yep.
Someone
Yeah, because-
experienced it. They walked through it hand in hand with their husband, with God, and they're still here. And they're still doing, and they're still fighting. 7 years later, I'm sorry, but 7 years battling cancer, fuck
Yeah.
that.
It's a long time.
me. But that, I think, is so motivational and inspirational that anyone watching,
It's a long time, but like I said before, I don't care if I'm 80 and still with cancer.
Come on.
One thing I have learned is that it's livable.
yes,
Technology has gotten so incredible that
it's livable. It should be
livable.
curable. And shame on Big Pharma for
Well, you
not
know
letting
what's
it curable
crazy?
because it should be curable.
Well, you know,
I'll
it's
tell you that right now.
You know, it's also
I'm
crazy.
start calling people out what it is. I'm telling you, I am, dude. I'm not playing
He's
around
getting
no more.
passionate right now. Forgive Casey.
But you know, it's crazy that I have also came across, you know, lots of, because before I used to talk about my situation all the time. I kind of stopped a little bit. You know,
I noticed
but
that actually.
I did. Yeah.
That's why I was like, I wanted to like reignite that fire,
Do you still have
dude.
cancer or not?
Well,
No, okay.
That's not really
No,
a question.
never mind.
Schedule.
in my I don't think that would ever come out of my mouth that way. But I mean, hey, we care about you, and I think there's a lot of people that need to hear your story and need to know
Yeah,
that you're still okay.
I stopped because I just felt like, damn, like I started kind of thinking like people just started to, you know me as like the girl that had cancer.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whatever. But I never talked
more
about
than that,
it.
though.
Yeah. Well,
It
you know,
is.
I never talked about it like as a, hey, pity me sort of thing.
Well, that's
like,
because you're not that girl. You're not that
because
person.
I don't want pity.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, I don't
Yeah.
want pity. I know that I've had, when I got re-diagnosed, when I was in the hospital in 2020, they did a news article on me, a news report on me of like
I remember.
how,
Yeah, I remember.
how
I
so
read it.
many people were outside. Like, what is
You
even?
probably pull it up
Dude,
actually.
Yeah, there was nurses, travel nurses coming in and out, people that were like kind of going to the hospital and stuff, like trying to figure out who was freaking in that hospital. Why is there 100 people outside? What is going on? It was like, no, it's just my family, you know, praying. And so they did an article about that. So that kind of got, you know, the people that like, oh my God, like she's really sick. She's, you know, the cancer's back, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of people started knowing a little bit, but I stopped just because I didn't want to like really, you know, I didn't want to focus on that anymore. And it's just like, dude, like sometimes it gets exhausting, right? I was at the point,
like
I was
a
at the
freaking
point where,
house wheel.
where unfortunately a lot of people were getting diagnosed, whether it was them or their family member or they knew somebody. So it was every single day, like minimum like 10 people writing to me every single day, like, hey, like, what do I do? Just kind of looking for you to give them some sort of answer.
Yeah.
How did you get here? Like, how
People
what
just want to
can you
know.
do?
Yeah.
People want to know.
They do, and they
to
want to
me-
hear. I'm telling you, they want to hear your story. I
Yeah.
promise you, you're more influential than I think you realize.
Well, I was fine. I'm fine with that. But then as I'm battling like my own situation, sometimes, you know, I don't care if you're a stranger, if you're talking to me about you being diagnosed with cancer, that hurts me.
Yeah,
So then
it's empathy,
I'm focused on like, how do I try to help you?
Yeah.
God, like, please help me. Give me the tools to try to help this person, even if it's just an encouraging word. 'Cause I'm not God.
But that's what he's doing. That's literally what God's doing.
Well,
God
I
is
hope
literally using you
so.
through the 7 years, dude.
Yeah, 7 years is a long
7.
time.
God is using you. Like I say, you know, when people ask me about my son, I always tell them God knew what He was doing when He gave me Kipton. Because he knew
does
that I'm going to
everything for a
fight
reason.
like a mother effer, like till the day I have no more breath for him.
Yeah, good for
Same
you.
exact thing. God gave you cancer. And I know that sounds like a very terrible thing to say, but he gave you cancer for a reason. You're still here.
Yep.
You're still breathing. You got an amazing dude behind you. You got an amazing family behind you. You got an amazing support system that will see you through whatever you need to be seen through. You know how powerful that is?
I hope it is.
No. I'm telling you it is. Regardless of what happens, you have made a mark on this community. You've made a mark on me. You've made a mark on all the people in this room. Okay? Just because of who you are as a woman and what you stand for and what you believe in, and you believe in fighting.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that needs to be gone said for a lot of other things in our country right now, which I'm not going to go on down that rabbit hole because we will go down a whole different...
That's where I wanted to go with this.
Oh, well, shit, girl. Don't open up that...
Let's talk
Because we will go right there.
No, and this is where I kind of want to bring him a little bit more because he's a little bit more knowledgeable in it. Where I would fight him over this a lot though, and he'll know what I'm talking about. When during, because of everything that I've gone through, and
you see things differently.
I see things differently.
That's me too.
I've done a lot of things with different organizations that have opened doors.
Yep.
They've opened doors.
Yep. And now you've seen things and you've experienced things that most other people never will.
Yes. Which is insane because
this is everything right here. This is everything. Preach it.
You talked about saying I wish cancer was curable. Okay, we'll get to that right now. Well, because of everything that I've done, I've met incredible people. I've met he used to be a doctor. Now he does his own research, and what he does is pretty much tries to. I'm gonna mess this up.
It doesn't matter. You can't mess it up. You can't mess it up.
Now, he's now like a scientist, him and his wife, which she was a doctor also, try to figure out how can we cure your cancer without chemotherapy and with off-label drugs. Okay.
Correct.
So we get there, we meet him, whatever. He invites us to, he has a board. He has all of this, all doctors, all different types of specialists that have to do with oncology. So we're there. Whatever. He's like, I want to introduce you. We went to, it's called Cancer Schmancer with Fran Drescher, which I love her, by the way. She's my favorite. So we got invited to, I was super excited. And in our table is this doctor. His name's Michael Castro, who's in Beverly Hills. Super expensive doctor. Literally is he will tell you straight to your face. Do you have money?
Yeah.
It's how much?
Yeah.
How much are we talking,
That's impressive. I mean, you got to respect that, I guess.
It's LA. What else do you expect? Yeah. So he's pretty much well, I told him my story, blah, 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 all these things. And he's like, okay, well, I do this and this. Does the same thing as this other doctor does, right? How can we cure your cancer or treat it at least with off-label medication that doesn't necessarily have to with chemo, or how can we kind of bring both of them together? So we meet with him, consultation, whatever, and he tells us, he gives us this whole presentation. Every other doctor that you go to, they will give you 15 minutes of their time.
I know.
And this doctor, we drove 4 hours?
4 hours to get down there,
He was with us for about an hour and a half. We end up getting to this presentation that he made. He shows us statistics. He shows us, other people that he has cured.
Wow. See?
Brain cancer. Literally, they gave this lady 3 months to live, something like that. She had cancer in her brain. He treats her, all of this. She's doing absolutely incredible now. Wow. He turns this laptop around. He's like, cancer is curable. Okay, so we've been working with him. I also read this book. Well, we're reading the book on the way over there, 4 hours. It's called How to Starve Cancer.
Okay. I actually am familiar with that. Yes, because it's a very, 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 very it's a healthy book.
It is hard to understand. The entire way that we were driving there.
It's educationally healthy. It is. It
is very difficult it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to understand. And
But when you do
understand it, you get pretty into it, just depending on what you want to do with that information. With us, I was so overwhelmed on my way there that I was like, oh, I don't want to go see this doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I was to the point where I was like, dude, just turn around. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then we kind of came to the conclusion, well, let it be what it's going to be.
It's God's plan.
If God wants us to go, we will go. Yep. We ended up getting in the car. We ended up driving, whatever. 4 hours into the car, we're listening to this audiobook, and she's pretty much saying, I was taking this medication, and she was a stage 4 breast cancer or colon cancer. I don't even remember what kind of cancer she had. She was taking all these things. She changed her diet completely. She starved her cancer.
Yep.
And she's like, how many years? 14
Boom.
years cancer free.
Because she starved the cancer.
Because she starved the cancer. She found a way to do it.
Yep.
So when I go and I get to, to that appointment, I start talking to him about that. So now we're a little bit familiar with what he's saying.
Yeah.
And we're like kind of geeking out a little bit. Like, oh, we kind of know this and blah, blah, blah. And, we start talking through all this research. We start finding out. And I would make fun of him all the time because he listens to Joe Rogan all the time.
Of course. He's a man. I love Joe.
Joe Rogan, bro.
I love him.
I don't know why. One day I wish to be in his podcast, but I don't like him.
I love him, dude.
I don't like him.
I mean, he literally opened up the sickness stuff with RFK on that made everything for me.
Well, during COVID,
that made everything for me. When he came out with the RFK, that's when I knew that things were going to change. Because when we look at this in retrospect, our country is the sickest it's ever been. And
we're the fattest. And if you travel to different places.
Girl, look back in the 80s when the beaches were full of healthy and very good people because you didn't have all this processed food, these vaccinations, all these nasty pharmaceuticals that we're putting in our bodies all day long.
Yeah. But why are we doing that? Because we're like
Because we're told what to do. We're being told and we're being gaslighted and manipulated by mainstream media who's controlled by the government to tell them what to tell us to do and what to say. Let me tell you something. I have been in Hollywood. I have lived and seen things that you don't even want to even fathom, right? This is why I'm a very big person on like, dude, let's get the Diddy thing out there because I know people it's bad. I never been to a Diddy party. No. But I do know of them because I was on shows. So people are like, well, no, listen. I was on a show with DMX one time. I did a TV show with DMX, and he was telling about what he rapped about in one of his songs and what took place. And this was
it's crazy,
8 years ago. This is 10 years ago. When he was telling me this stuff was happening, and now it's coming to light. And I'm like, dude, now I'm really starting to piece things together. I don't care who you are. There is an evil. There is a very, very, very big evil in democratic and liberal thinking. And I'm not calling all Democrats evil. I'm not saying they're all this or all that because I've got a lot of highly intellectual Democrat friends. But for the life of me, what I can't understand is how they can look back at the past 4 years and look at how sick we are as a country. Yep. And we're looking at the facts, watching things that they may not see that I'm watching right down the barrel of that gun. Yeah. And I cannot unsee them. Once you see them, you'll never unsee it. And that's why I think everyone is now not jumping on the Trump train. We're not jumping on the Trump train. We cannot have Kamala. We cannot have Kamala. We cannot have Walsh. We cannot have the things that they stand for and represent because that is the type of evil that is overcoming and succumbing this country. Yeah. That's something that I can't get behind. And what I don't understand is why we can't come together, left and right, Democrat, Republican, and say this is not the way that we want our country to live.
I agree with you to the extent where we talk about this
for sure.
Because I agree with you 100%. But, when I got diagnosed 7 years ago, I don't even know if I told you this, but when I got diagnosed 7 years ago, I was literally left to die also by the insurance companies because I didn't have a job at that point. Yeah. Why? Because of my condition. Like you can't work anymore. Your condition becomes your job. Your condition becomes your life.
Yes.
So I'm at the point where now I have to pay for it. I'm calling and calling and calling. At the time they had like even Obamacare. Yeah. I'm calling everybody and their mom. Like, what insurance can I get?
Insurance is the biggest scam in the world.
Every insurance in the world, right?
Yep.
Where eventually the one where I gave up was when they weren't giving me insurance. So I said, why are you not giving me insurance? Because I have a pre-existing condition? Yes. So you're just going to leave me there to die? Yes. That's exactly what they said over the phone. You know what I mean? Then like I have to what do I do? You know how expensive chemotherapy is?
Very.
The other day, Chris lost my chemo pills. Well, actually, he threw them away. He threw my chemo pills away. And how much did they charge us for them?
Yep.
For a bottle of 1 week, which is like 25 pills, right? If I'm doing the math.
And you know the BPMs, you know that Trump is trying to get all those down. Like, I mean, literally, he's literally trying to reverse all of those things down, like to make sure that it doesn't cost that kind of money, even though I personally don't believe in that type of medicine myself personally. I think we can treat things much differently than putting toxins and chemicals in our body. But some pharmaceuticals, I do believe in. My stepdad's a pharmacist. He compounds. He's a compounding pharmacist. He's brilliant. So there's a lot of good things that could come from compounding pharmaceuticals.
There is. And that's where I was going with this. Like, dude, so now they're charging me $17,000 for this pill. Like, what do I even do? You know what I mean? It's so expensive. Yeah, okay, let's pay for it. Whatever. It is what it is. We were able to, we were able to get that part situated. But thankfully, Chris and I have done so much research that before that, we're okay with, I guess, you know, with everything kind of going on, because like I'm going back to like the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
He used to talk a lot about, you know, what they would treat COVID with, right? Which was the ivermectin.
Mm-hmm. And HCQ and all kinds of things.
Well, lo and behold, ivermectin's something that you can go ahead and use to try to treat your cancer.
There's all kinds of things that you can use to treat.
So many things
that you have no idea. But like I said, there's good pharmaceuticals, but they don't want to give you those.
Well, you know, ivermectin is a lot cheaper, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Than
I said that makes it. We made a ton of it just to have on reserve, just in case.
Yeah. So my ivermectin bottle costs what, like $100 and something in comparison to my chemo bottle that probably had the same amount or less amount of pills, which was 17,000. That's fucking so insane, right? It's so insane. And I would make fun of him all the time because he would geek out about like, oh, Joe Rogan said this, that they're treating, you know, COVID patients with this.
Stem cell kinds of things. I mean,
with COVID, I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's definitely COVID with ivermectin.
Yeah.
Fenbendazole.
There's quite a few different things that could be compounded to fight COVID. That's the crazy thing. That's the most wildest thing to me.
The same thing with cancer. Yeah. That's what that book is about. Yeah. That's what she was doing this, whatever, 20 years ago, whenever she was doing it. I can't even do the math right now.
So let me go back to what part are you okay about? I don't think you made that clear. You agreed with me on a lot, but you didn't agree with which part? Because I'm trying to get clarity on that.
Yeah, I want to say something like, oh, no, that I'm okay with your thoughts about, you know, the pharmaceutical.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I was trying to follow your story. I was like, my only thing is this, is I've watched the mouth of the devil, right? I've seen how they speak, how they talk, and how they put it out there. I watched my own son get sick, right? I watched it happen. Like when you see things that you can't unsee, and then you watch how they try to hide it. It's the manipulation, the gaslighting for me that makes me so irate. I watch it happen. They'll tell you one thing, and it's completely not what's happening.
Oh, I think it was mainly that, like, you know, we're not completely okay with like the Democratic Party.
Oh, no, we're not with any of the parties.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, I agree with you for the most part, that, and then I started talking about like the insurance part, because
which is a complete scam, by the way.
Yeah, you know, but sometimes it helps. It helps those that need it. Yeah. That's the one thing.
I don't know. I've had private insurance. I've had not private insurance. I've had Medi-Cal. I've done everything. I still feel like no matter what happens, I'm paying an asinine amount of money.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No matter what happens, more money than most people can afford. I just don't understand like how our healthcare system works the way that it does. Mm-hmm. Like I'm still paying copays. I'm still paying $17,000 for pills. I'm still doing something. It's expensive. I mean, nothing makes sense, and nothing has made sense for 4 years. Yeah. You know? That's my only thing of politics. I just don't understand anyone could look at the past 4 years and be like, okay, Kamala's done a great job. She's done amazing. She's done so good. She's done so great for this country. I don't understand how anyone could logically think that.
Yeah, I don't understand that part either.
I don't. Like, I don't even care about the Trump. This is not about Trump. It's about how the past 4 years have operated under your watch. Yep. And now you and Joe Biden are completely dissected. And Biden's out here supporting Trump now, putting on Trump hats, which I can get behind, by the way. That's Joe Biden. I can get behind. I like that. I like Joe Biden when he's like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me twisted. Like I'm not like, I hate him. I just very much dislike Kamala because she's evil. But that's not really my point. Joe Biden, I just think he was an old dude. Yeah. I think he's been embedded in politics.
He might not even remember he even did that shit.
He doesn't know. He doesn't. But I think to his core, I think he just wants to be a goofy dude and live out the rest of his life. You know what I mean? I just, the way that they went about it, it's so evil. It's so corrupt. The lying, the manipulation. She just all of a sudden is the candidate, and now of a sudden,
you're like, how did you even get here? Nobody voted.
Nobody.
To be here.
Nobody wants her. Trump's going to win in a landslide. There's no question about it. And what's funny is when Trump does win in a landslide, our country's going to get better.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to get better. So why people are worried, I don't understand. There's nothing to worry about, right? The only thing to worry about is if somehow, some way they cheat and they have some dude that's not going to be your vice president that wants to put tampons in women's and boys' restrooms. I mean, that literally is... Yeah, Tampon Tim, dude. Tampon Tim, dude. It's just like, that's who we're going to have as our vice president, bro? Is that how we're gonna? Comrade, come on. I mean, come on, man.
They call her Skamala.
Skamala. I mean, I can give a bunch of different things, but and some people don't like that about Trump, you know. But like at the end of the day, like he calls it how it is. I don't want like. Do you see that? The administration for a health department? You can't even. You know if she's a female or male, and she's literally completely obese. That's overseeing our health. And you're telling us
that doesn't make sense,
dude. Why? Why are you doing that to us? And then people want to back that.
Yep.
Like intellectual people want to support that.
No, obviously not. If that's what they're supporting,
it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
It makes you really wonder, like, what is going on through your head if you're okay with that, like. What is it?
So now you're seeing what I'm putting down. I can't unsee what I've seen. I've seen the evil unfold to my son. I've seen the evil unfold to our babies. I've seen the evil unfold to the 1 in 4 cases in boys with autism, the rising cases in autism. I'm seeing now it's 1 in 7 females getting diagnosed with cancer. I mean, we're talking.
Well, it's really hard for us. We talk about like the diet part, right? Like it's really hard for us to consume certain things. Yeah. If we're going to the store and they're saying, hey, to be healthy, you have to buy everything organic. You have to, have you seen the prices of organic? Have you seen the inflation of organic now? You know what I mean?
Girl.
Well, even then, organic doesn't, just because it's FDA approved doesn't really mean it's organic. It's just they slap a label on and it's more expensive. So it's like, what do you even believe at this point? You have to grow your own stuff.
But do you see, that's the biggest problem is we've been gaslighted so long, we don't even know what's natural, what's not natural. And I mean, it is crazy.
Yeah, so then how are we, it's like this domino effect, right? Like how do we get to the cancer?
Yeah.
You know, how are people, okay, because when I got diagnosed, my doctor looked at my file, he's like, I don't even know how you got diagnosed because you're 26 years old and you have colon cancer, which statistically,
and he couldn't even give you how you got diagnosed?
No, because my type of cancer during that time, it was statistically a 50-year-old male, white male, the ones that would get colon cancer. How the hell? I'm like, I'm not.
You had at your age to get that is absolutely.
Well, I wasn't. I'll tell you what. I wasn't white. I wasn't 50, and I wasn't a male. So how did this happen? We're still trying to figure that out, right? Like,
can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Did you get all your vaccinations?
I got 2, and then the third one I didn't.
I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about all vaccinations when you're a baby.
I don't even know. I grew up in Mexico, and I don't even know what the fuck
you probably got the good shit then.
I'm immune to everything.
Yeah, you're just immune to everything, girl.
I have the mark, you know? Have you seen that? Like, if you're Mexican, you have the mark.
The mark. I have some homies that they always talk about that.
Ask me what that vaccination for that mark, or what it was. I have no idea.
Even know.
I don't know how many I got. You know where they would give them to us? You wouldn't even go to a clinic to like your doctor appointment. I would go, I think my mom took me to school because I was going to school in Mexico and they just said, get in line. And they just gave me the vaccination. Yeah. Whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we get it over there. So yeah, I guess I probably am.
The arm from a vaccine in Mexico is likely from the Bacille Comente. It's like for tuberculosis.
Yeah, for TB, it's a TB vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually, the chemicals that are in there are pretty atrocious.
Damn.
But again, you would have no idea what you put in your body, especially coming from Mexico.
Yeah.
You would have no idea. As a kid, you're putting these chemicals inside. That's my problem. As we're being told that we have to do this to our kids day in, day out, and then look at where our country's at. This is why I cannot coincide with RFK anymore, like any higher level, like make America healthy again. I don't understand why that shouldn't be a unanimous message. I don't understand how anyone wants to fight him, wants to fight Trump, and wants to sit back and endure another 4 years of this.
I mean, I feel like it's not even until they are sick themselves that then they want to, like, no one's going to listen to you unless you have an autistic child. Like, why the hell are you
And unless you have an autistic child, you do not know what having an autistic child is like.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you're doing, because...
Unless it's home, unless it's personal.
Yeah, dude.
Driveway.
Yep.
I think the complacency of where this country has gone because it becomes so dependent.
Well, we sat back and we took it. During COVID, we were told to sit at home. We were instructed to stay home. Don't move. Don't do anything. Wear a mask. Get vaccines. Put chemicals in your body. Fight each other over division. Be divisive. Fight over race, gender. Talking about whether you want to cut off your penis or boobs at under 18 years old, dude. Getting sex changes.
That's so crazy.
If that is really what we're fighting over, then what is America actually, bro? Like, what are we doing? This is what we're fighting over. We're fighting over abortions. The fact to choose over whether a baby should come into this world or not.
Yeah, when you think about what God's word says about this in the last days, we are in the last days.
We're definitely
I
last
personally
days, bro.
believe this generation is going to see, the coming of Christ. Whether I feel like when I'm 80 or 100, but the devil's showing his face in its purest form. This is evil because. God, the Bible does say, God's word is hidden to those who are lost. They don't know they're lost. They just know they're existing depending on what we see, the Diddy stuff, it's the sin that's covering. We're so clouded.
God
with
is starting
that.
to expose it, man. Like he says, everything will come to light. And guess what? I have learned in 40 years of my life to make sure that I let God take vengeance. Because when I try to, I might get a little too crazy. But
all of us, man. Barely. Chris is like, I'm trying to do that now, bro.
I've learned to let God take vengeance, and I will tell you, it's much sweeter, and it's definitely, when you see something happen like that, it really is a God sent image, and I really think God is going to show this country what God really is, because they're trying to take God out of it, and that's what can't happen.
Because the Bible does say, in the last days, I'm going to pour out my spirit upon all flesh. So there is going to be this high hope of people coming to that saving knowledge, and it's not so much as become a Christian. No, it's experiencing Him. I think,
bro, Trump is not the guardian angel of America, but he became it.
No, yeah,
Dude's been trying to get killed
for
3
a
times
time
now,
like
bro.
this. Just recently, this past
3 times.
weekend,
Another
Coachella.
assassination attempt.
Yeah.
We're sitting back here doing nothing about. We still can't even get the damn phones, bro. No, man.
He had 7 phones on him.
I'll tell you right now. Send a wife.
Yeah.
Send a wife.
Yep.
Because I'm telling you, any wife will get into some phone anywhere if they think someone's cheating. So I'm just saying,
bring it. Let's go. Hey, especially a Latina, bro.
Especially Latina, bro.
Hey, that's why I married a white girl.
Bring the assassin's phone. She'll get in there, and we'll know. That's the crazy part. We know what happened, bro. We know what happened. I've never wanted to say, but we know what happened. That thing was so planned by the left.
It's very obvious.
Twisted.
So again, I feel like the evil is showing its face, where it's not even hiding. It's not hiding itself no more. Right? So long story, back around. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Damn, I don't even remember where
I know. At. We have too much fun on here, but we're this is why we call it the Passionate Podcast. And honestly,
I feel like I'm getting in trouble when he yells. I'm like, dang, I'm sorry that I invented cancer, man. I guess I'm sorry I created COVID.
He's poking the bear. That's what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's getting me passionate and getting me all excited and looped up.
I'm good with that.
That's what we do. And
kind of turns me on.
And if we don't have passion, then we're not going to fight for what we believe in.
Yeah.
And we're not going to ever feel, what it feels like to actually truly have success. And you have to stand tall for what you believe in. And like I said, this is not about Trump. Anything is not about Trump. But when he stood up there and said, fight, 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 that's the leader I want in charge of my country.
100%.
That's it. There's no questions, ins, ifs, or buts about it. I don't care if you don't like the guy. No one likes Putin. Yeah. No one likes any of these other presidents. No one likes.
Did you guys watch him on the Andrew Schultz podcast?
Killed it.
Oh man, you got to watch that.
He's got a sense of humor too.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
He's hilarious.
He's so funny for no reason. He literally means it.
Yeah, he could have been like a dope comedian. If he wasn't a billionaire, millionaire, whatever, or president, all that, he'd be a dope comedian.
Yeah.
Tampon Tim just that sold it for me,
bro. But he's so
I think he shared a post on X where he showed Tim Waltz loading a shotgun. He was loading tampons. Done. I was like, I'm voting for Trump just for that.
Just for that. Loading tampons in a shotgun. Why you even got a shotgun anyways, bro? You're not even shooting that thing, bro.
They showed him not being, but then they said like he was in the military for 20 years. I think that makes sense.
That's cap, bro.
It's never. Every military dude I've talked to literally tells me how much he is literally despised by every military person. So this is what I'm telling you. The only way Kamala wins is by cheating. There's no other way.
Or they take Trump out.
We don't talk like that. Because we just can't talk like that.
Reality.
But
evil, yeah.
We got to end the show now.
I'm praying for his protection daily, man.
Dude, listen, check it out. I'm so grateful that you came on with us today, honestly. And I feel like I want to come have you back and have Chris on and another episode too.
The real story.
To get some real more good, juicy details. But honestly, you are a huge inspiration to the community for, the roller coaster of life that you've been through. I mean, I should just start calling you Magic Mountain, right? I mean, literally, you've been through such a roller coaster of life in the past 7 years.
Magic Mountain. Why?
Well, you've been through ups and downs.
bro, it's just one of those things, but we've all seen it, and I applaud you for it.
Thank you.
As inspired as I am by you, I don't think there's another person in this world that's more inspired by you, by the man sitting over there. And I love that, dude. And honestly, I appreciate you guys as a whole and as a unit. But I really just wanted to see your soul on here today. And I appreciate you for putting it out there and sharing some of the things that you shared that you might not have shared previously. Because this is the Passionate Podcast. And I do know a lot of people are watching, and a lot of people that might not know what to do when encountered with such a situation like this is watching and is probably feeling much more at ease because of you and because of this conversation. So I will encourage you to have more conversations like this and to put yourself out there and to really make this your mark, because I think this is who you are, and I think this is what God intended for you. And I'm really proud of you for making sure that you're living out what God has intended for you and Chris. All right. So stay true to that.
Thank you.
We always do a little recap at the end of our show, and we always have you tell our viewers a little, something about, life in general, and give our viewers here in that camera a little message of hope, for people that are going through a lot of different things. I mean, times are tough, right? I mean, the economy is terrible. Things are really scary. We don't know what's coming or going sometimes. And there are a lot of people fighting health, fighting their weight, fighting cancer, fighting autism, fighting all kinds of different things that are out there. I want you to give a little bit of hope to the people that are watching, man. Give them a positive, encouraging message, because I know that that's exactly what you're made of and capable of doing. Fire away.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I wanted to say that thank you for everything. I mean, God is absolutely incredible, whether he gives you good or bad in your life. Yep. Just always be grateful for everything. Always give thanks. Give thanks to God. That's, him tugging at your ear, remember, and, just trying to get you to understand that he's remembering you, that he's thinking of you, and just nothing is too big or too small for him. Everything has a solution in this world, and you got this. And
dude, I just got chills. First of all, I don't think you realize what you just said.
Everything happens for a reason.
I'm gonna emphasize on this really quick as we close out. But you said that God, that it made you feel like God was thinking about you. Mm-hmm. God gave you cancer so that you knew he was thinking about you. Yeah. That is such a mindset.
My grandma always told me that. She always said, always give thanks to God, whether it's good or whether it's bad, because that's him tugging at your ear. That he's thinking about you.
That is powerful. And true. That, I mean,
things could be worse.
You could be dead. You could be gone. Mm-hmm. But or God could not be thinking about you at all, and you could be living a very dull, boring, sick, twisted, perverted life, that you don't know Christ, you don't know Christ's love, you don't know who he is and what he's done for you and for this entire world, but that is powerful. I really applaud you for saying that, because some people might not look at cancer as a way that God's thinking about you. But if you can make it that way and you can come out of it with a positive and optimistic twist, that's how you survive. I think that's how you survive life, is by getting through things and by taking your passions in life, like the Passionate Podcast, of being who you are and finding out, like, okay, I got some bad news, but in a weird way, this could be some of the best news of my life, because it's going to wake me up, right? It's going to wake me up and say, okay, I got to start taking care of some things. I got to make some changes. I've got some really good things going on in my life, but man, I'm going to have to make a change, and I got to adjust. And if that's God just thinking about me, then hey, man, I can knock out anything, and I can get through anything, over any obstacle, any Magic Mountain roller coaster, and we will survive. So thank you all so much for tuning into the Passionate Podcast. I appreciate all the viewers and all the support. Andrea, thank you again. This has been a definitely special podcast, and I'm excited to have you and your man on again and come back and really dive into some pretty big issues. I think a lot of people are going to want to hear some more after today. So thank you so much. All right, we're out, guys. Thank you so much. Passionate Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or Spotify, or Apple. We are out there. Thank you guys so much.